All right, so I had this question sent to the Premium Club group, and it was after our session on confusion versus clarity. And there are three questions here. And I just want to take my time to answer these questions. They're pretty good questions, and they circle around relationships. So the first question is, how do you know when what needs priority in your life, and like when you should stay off relationships and just build your craft, or when you should find a partner? So how do you know what should take priority in your life? Is it work or romantic relationships? So how do you know when not to go after looking for a partner, and when to focus on your work as whatever it is, whether you're a designer or whatever? Okay, so this is a good question, and I'll try to answer this question from my own personal experience. And the reason why I have to say that is because I don't want it to sound like what I'm saying is the answer. It's just my suggestion. And so I'm suggesting what worked for me. Now, if anybody, I know I've shared my relationship stories before on different platforms, but I don't know if I've ever shared it with you guys. But okay, so but I'll let you know a little history of my relationship story. I've only dated two people ever in my life, just two people. And the first time I dated somebody was in university. And the reason why I went into that relationship was because I was pressured. I was in my final year, and a lot of my friends were dating one person or the other. And I felt left out. I felt like there was something wrong with my journey. Like, how could I be leaving school? And I came into school single, I'm leaving school single. And I remember I had a couple of people tell me, look, you can't come to school single and leave school single. You need somebody. You need somebody. That's what shows that the school went through you, not only you going through the school. So I remember actually setting out and saying I wanted to have a girlfriend in my final year. And you know, like most other things that you set out to do, if you set out determined enough, you will find it. But that doesn't mean you've done the right thing. And we must learn to understand that in today's generation, that it's not every time you set out to do something and you achieve it that you've done well. A lot of times we applaud people for setting out to do and achieving it, and we get motivated by that. It doesn't mean the person is on the right path. As a matter of fact, the person might have done something to really derail themselves from true success. So there's a part of the Bible that I always just hold on to. Say there's a path that seems right to a man, but the end leads to death. That means that path seems right. And they took that path and they followed that path to the end. But in the end, what they got was death. So success is not going after something and getting it. Success is going after the right thing and getting it. If you go after the wrong thing and you get it, you've further gone into failure. So not everything that is celebrated as an achievement, if you look at it closely, is actually an achievement. So I achieved my purpose of getting a girlfriend. But no, in hindsight now I look at it and I say, it wasn't really an achievement, because it was an emotional roller coaster. And in the end, the relationship didn't work out. And it ended in a kind of an ugly way. You understand? Kind of an ugly way. And when I think about it, I'm like, it was an emotional experience that wasn't necessary, because I went out to find a partner. So answering your question, how do you know what to prioritize? How do you know when it's time to go out and look for a partner? And how do you know when it's time to focus on work? I really feel, my personal opinion is, you don't need to go out and look for a partner. You don't need to. And you don't need to prioritize it at any stage in your life. I think a lot of people, this biological clock thing makes a lot of people, puts a lot of people under pressure to make mistakes. A lot of women, but there are a lot of men nowadays that can hear their biological clock ticking and say, oh, my biological clock is ticking. There is no biological clock. What you call a biological clock is an anxiousness and an impatience. So I don't think there's a time to go out and look for a partner. I don't think so, and I could be wrong. I stand to be corrected on that. But based on my journey, I'm looking at my journey right now. I met my wife, who is my wife now, for 12 years, and we've known each other for 19 years because we dated for 7 years. I met her just by doing every day the best I could. The day I met my wife, I never knew I would meet my wife, and I never set out that day to look for a partner. As a matter of fact, I was just coming from this somewhat ugly breakup, and I'd already said, you know what, this relationship thing, let me just put it aside for now and just live my life. And I remember just meeting people, going out for, events, gatherings, get together, not to find a partner, but just to learn and interact and really offer my value. And at that time, to the people I met. And I remember it was at one of these events and get-together that I was holding at church that I sat down, and my wife came and sat down right next to me. We started out as friends. But now today we are married. It wasn't by chasing her. It wasn't by, oh, I'm looking for and I found. It was by the fact that it came to me. I was just living each and every day. You see, so to answer your question, when do I make, what do I know what to make priority? I always tell people the only thing that you can make priority, that you should make priority in your life, is your assignment. That assignment that God has given you, that you believe God has, that's the only thing you should actively search for each day. What's the assignment for today? So if I was to go back to the Bible now, you realize that, use the story of Adam. He was working on his assignment when God created Eve for him. He didn't go out looking for Eve. Working on the assignment. You understand? So that's how it is. It's not you looking for. If you look at other cases in the Bible, you might say, oh, but other people like Isaac, they went to look for a wife for him. But you must realize that it wasn't Isaac that said it's time to look for a wife. It was his father. It was Abraham that said, okay, we need to look for a wife for him. Isaac was just being an obedient son, being a responsible son, and they went out and looked for a wife for him. And when the wife came, he connected with her. So I feel, focus on your assignment. What you feel your assignment is, that inner leading that you have each day to achieve something. To achieve something, to make life better, either for other people or make life better for yourself. You understand? Something. That's why you should focus on your assignment. If your assignment is your job, then do your job well. In doing it, you'll be shining your light that will attract people and even attract that partner that you're looking for. But a lot of times when we spend our time looking for a partner, it always becomes an elusive task. And you don't find that person. Or you end up finding the wrong person. So I hope that answers the first question. The second question here is, when you fail at a relationship, is it a sign that you shouldn't be looking for love? When you fail at a relationship, it's not a sign that you shouldn't be looking for love. Like failing at any other thing, it's a sign to improve at something. It's a sign to look for something else. So it's either when you fail at a relationship, when you call failing a relationship, maybe you have a relationship and it breaks up for some reason, there's always something to learn. So after any relationship failure, emotional failure that you might have, the first thing to do is to ask why it failed in the first place. There must be a why, and what part you played, what part the other person played in it, and learn from that. We fail to learn. We don't fail to escape. So when you fail and I say, oh, that means this is not meant for me, I don't think that's it. I think you fail to move on to the next thing with more knowledge, more insight, more experience. So I don't think by any means it means you shouldn't be looking for love. I don't think so. And this still brings us back to that phrase, looking for love. I don't think it's something we ought to do, to look for love. You understand? What we ought to do is to live in love. To live every single day of your life should be an expression of love. And then in doing that, you come across romantic love. So every single day should be an expression of love, whether a love for an activity or a love to serve some people, a particular type of people. But every single day of your life should be an expression of love. And in living your life as an expression of love, you begin to attract love. No, you don't begin to look for love. An attractive love, you attract romantic love. So, yeah, I don't think failing at relationship is a sign that you shouldn't go into another relationship. I just feel, number one, you're not looking for love. You understand? You're an embodiment of love already. You are giving love out each and every day. And then somebody is attracted to that love that you give out every day and the way you give it out. And that person wants to join you and join with you as an embodiment of love. And that's what we call romantic love. The third question is, what if you find someone and they want to settle down immediately, but your life isn't sorted out? All right, so you're in a relationship with somebody, and they want to settle down immediately, but your life isn't sorted out. Now, there are a lot of angles to this question. That question is packed with a lot of touch points there. So you meet somebody with whom you are romantically involved, you are in a relationship with, and for some reason they want to settle down immediately. Now, the question is, why do they want to settle down immediately? Why are they impatient? Because when you say you meet someone you want to settle down immediately, that shows some impatience. And when someone is impatient, it shows that there's no peace or there's a lot of fear somewhere. And that's where you need to ask, why is this person fearful? And why do they not have any peace? Why are they fearful that this window of this relationship would close? So for them, there is something that there's still an insecurity about. So it might be an insecurity about an age, whereby their age. So they might feel like, oh, they are getting old, so they need to get married immediately. There's an insecurity. And you can't go into establishing a relationship into marriage with those insecurities lingering. Because when there are insecurities, you make bad decisions. So this person wants to get into a relationship immediately. What's the reason? Why? Why do they want to establish the relationship? Why do they want to settle down in quote or get married immediately? There's a fear there. There's either a fear of, oh, they're getting old, or there's the fear of, I might lose this person. And that comes from what has happened to them before, where they were with somebody and they lost the person, in terms of the relationship broke up, and they are afraid it will happen with you if they don't lock you down. Now, all those things are not things that should foster settling down. They should foster having deeper conversations of why this person feels those insecurities. And that person needs to deal with those insecurities. So like with insecurities, you don't feed them. When you feed them, they get bigger and stronger. You understand? So the person that wants you to settle down immediately, when you get married, when you start a relationship, we want you to have a child immediately too. You understand? And so it always turns into a bigger thing. So once you feed that, oh, we get married immediately, then it gets bigger into a monster of let's have a child immediately. then that gets figured into a monster of, oh, let's build a bigger house immediately, or let's buy a car immediately, and that's where the whole marriage is full of pressure. So those kind of insecurities, you really need to talk about them with the person in which you are in whom you are in a relationship with, and find out why they want to be so immediate in their settling down. But then with you need to settle why you think your life is not sorted out in the first place, and what is your definition of a sorted out life. So what do you mean by your life is not sorted out? Are you talking about financial security, whereby you don't have enough? And this is where you need to think of, especially with marriage. This is something that affects guys a lot, some ladies too, where they think, I want to get everything before going into marriage. It's very hard. It's very hard to get everything. There are always things hanging. Always things hanging before you get married. And there are some things that will hang, that would hang until you get married. So I'll use my personal example. You see, when I got married, I was running a business, but my business wasn't doing particularly well, to be honest with you. And there was a little bit of panic there to think, how will I take care of my wife? How am I ready to start a family? You know, I wasn't getting a lot of big clients then. But then, you know, one thing I realized is when I got married, people started looking at me differently. Even my clients started looking at me differently and started engaging with me differently and stopped really questioning my rates. So they started paying what I requested without beating down my rates. They were like, oh, this guy is married. He's a married man now. We can't beat it down too much. You see, I was scared of the sufficiency of what I was earning before I got married. But marriage in itself kind of improved my profile. That's the reality. It just works out that way. And the same thing happened when we started having kids. I was scared about my income, having kids, and if we're going to be sufficient. But having kids and being a family man in that way kind of improved my profile. So when I charge, people look at and say, he's a married man, he's a father, that kind of thing. We can't really beat him down to that level. So you see, these insecurities we have, sometimes the solution is in the settling down. You understand? That whole, my life is not sorted out. Sometimes it's the settling down that sorts out your life. The settling down that sorts out your life. Sometimes it's the advice from your partner that helps you to sort out your life. So I've had a lot of advice from my wife that has helped me sort out a lot of things in my life that I feel if I were on my own, I wouldn't have thought of them. So, you see, you could be in your own way, blocking yourself or blocking your life from sorting out by not taking some decisions, by being scared to settle down. And that's, in fact, that settling down in itself, it might be what would sort out your life. But that said, you know, I think it's also wise for people to take a good indices of their life and think whether they are ready for marriage. So if you really, really feel that you are not ready, you are not ready, you really believe it on the inside of you, I really think it shouldn't be out of fear. It should be out of clarity that you are not ready. And I'll still use my own personal journey, my journey with my wife. You see, when I dated my wife for 7 years, and it wasn't particularly intentional to date that long, because I wanted to get married to my wife, I think 5 years into our relationship, but it extended for 2 more years. And that's because my wife, on her own side, felt like she wasn't ready. She wasn't ready to get married. And she said she wanted to finish her medical school before she got married. So she wanted to sort that out. And it was kind of a tussle, because then I felt, man, you can be going to school while while we are married. I'll take care of the bills and stuff like that. But now that I think about it, I'm so thankful that she knew herself enough to say she wanted to finish her education before she got married. Because I'm just thinking of it now. I'm like, oh man, that because her school fees was pretty expensive, because she went to a private university. And I'm like, I was just a struggling businessman then. How would I have maintained that? That would have been getting to marriage with a lot of pressure. So I thank God for the clarity she had to say, I'm not ready. I need to sort out this education thing first. And once she sorted that out, she was ready, and she was able to commit to being a wife and a partner and a mother and a friend. I could have imagined if she didn't have that level of clarity. So yeah, really think about where your life being sorted out, where it lies. Is your life not sorted out of a fear that you have of wanting to accumulate everything and everything being picture perfect before you settle down? Or is it out of actual clarity, you're seeing that, yeah, there are some things that you really feel you need to do before you get married? So if that's the case, then that person has to align. If they don't align, then they're not for you. If you're really clear, like if I insisted that my wife had to get married to me, or going against her own clarity of saying I want to finish school, then it means we're not meant for each other. But I was able to wait for her that extra 2 years or 1.5 years, because I was the one for her. We were compatible, so I was able to wait. So that person that is for you will be able to wait at the end of the day, or should be able to wait at the end of the day. So I hope that helps you answer these questions. But they're very good questions, and they're very real questions that affect relationships and goal setting, and expectations in life.